In this video, I'm going to go over what to do if you get to a module and you realize you can't feel really anything for that emotion. For one thing, I do want to remind you that this is one of the common challenges, and so I don't want you to get discouraged or think that you're doing something wrong and get into the confusion and the beating yourself up. I want you to actually go into curiosity. And by that, I mean that for today's module, you're going to put at the very top of your notebook, well, that's interesting. I wonder why my body does not feel safe feeling that emotion, or something along those lines. But I want you to have this attitude of curiosity of really like, that is interesting. Why would I not be able to access that emotion easily? That's where I want your thoughts to stop, though. I don't want us to go into having to understand it, having to analyze it. We can let that piece go when we're doing somatic experiencing. We use our mind to focus on a certain part of our body, find words to describe how it feels, and be able to know the difference and track something from going from comfortable or pleasant to uncomfortable or unpleasant. That's the job of our mind in somatic experiencing, not to analyze or try to understand. So I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do if this happens in any of the modules, because it will be a valuable exercise in developing your practice of somatic experiencing. And then you can have the time to come back later and repeat this module and repeat it a third time if that's helpful. And I think that you'll find that you will start to be able to access whatever emotion you're having difficulty with at a later time after you've developed more of your practice of somatic experiencing, and your nervous system will already have a little bit more flexibility and health by the time you get to the end of the 7 modules. This exercise that I'm going to have you do instead is a somatic experiencing informed body scan. What that means is that you'll start from head to toe or go from toe to head. It does not matter, but what does matter is that you do it in an organized way. And you're going to practice having your mind focus on that part of your body and feeling different things and being able to put words to how things feel. And so whether it's your head or your feet, it really doesn't matter. Bring in some movement. So, move things around, move your foot around when you get to that, and start to know the limits of what it can stretch and where is that line of comfort and uncomfortable when it comes to stretching it or moving it. What is the range of motion? How far back can you reach? At what point do things become really tense, tight? Do you feel like your muscles are going to cramp up or spasm at any point? And at what point is that? Really start to understand your tissues rather than trying to understand thoughts and reasons and being in the logical brain for this exercise. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find words. You're going to force your brain to find words to describe how each part feels. This was a challenge for me when I was first starting out. My trainers would ask me, well, what does that feel like? I'm like, I don't know. I've never thought about how it feels like. I don't even have the words to describe what it feels like. I don't know. And so this is very common, and I just want you to go through this practice then of, well, what does it feel like? How would I describe that? And starting with something very basic of it's comfortable or it's not comfortable is a good place to start. And then let's expand that into, well, does it feel loose or does it feel tight or tense? Does it feel warm or does it feel cold? Neither. Okay, where in that spectrum would it be? If cold were a 1, warm was a 10, what number would you put it on that scale? And this is how we can start to really fine-tune our brain's ability to describe and be aware of the different sensations in our body as our biology is changing, because it's our nervous system, it's our physiology that's actually affecting our temperature, the tension in our muscles. I mean, all of this stuff, it's all the nervous system. And so since this is how our nervous system shows up in our body, we want to train our mind to be able to be more conscious of this and have words to describe this, because this will be so helpful as we move forward in this work. And this is the foundation that we have to have. So if you get to a module, you can't seem to access the emotions, remember, this is not a problem. It is okay. And so the first thing you're going to do is approach it with curiosity, and you're going to write down on your piece of paper, "That's interesting." And then you can follow it up with, "I wonder why my body does not feel safe accessing that emotion." Then we're going to leave that. In the advanced somatic experiencing course, we will go deeper into that. And so there'll be a different exercise that we do for that, but we would not be ready for that in this basic introductory course of somatic experiencing. So I don't want you going down that path anymore, other than just labeling it, recognizing it, and kind of putting it back on the shelf. And then we can revisit that in the advanced somatic experiencing course. Once you've had your curiosity response, then you can approach it with still an open mind and an open nervous system, because we haven't gone into the discouragement and the shame, and be able to do this other exercise of using our mind, focusing on one area of our body, because this is a practice that we have to develop, using our mind to just focus on one area of our body and forcing it to find words to describe what it feels. Again, this is a practice that you will get better with time. And so you start with where you're at, and the more you practice it, the easier it will get, and then it will start to just flow. It probably will not flow right now, and that's just part of the process. It's a normal place to be. So this is why we're developing this practice of somatic experiencing.